Well, hey guys, and welcome back to Dan's Pro Shop. This is numero dos. For those non-Spanish speaking folk, that's part 2 of the machine teardown, getting ready to go out series, whatever you want to call it. But this one ain't going to be nearly as long as the last. I figure I'll give you a break after that sermon. But what we're going to do here, we talked about it last time, we're going to hack off these valves because I am not exactly stoked about how old they are. Like this one here, there's a chunk missing out of it, and it's just, we got some new stuff. So what we got here is these flange type Schedule 80 valves. So you guys see here how the valve actually screws in between these two collars here. So in the event this valve fails, you don't have to cut it out and sacrifice what existing pipe you have here. You can just replace the core. Dude, I found these things years ago, and I will not put a regular glue-in valve anymore. These things are the bee's knees and absolutely the way to go. So we're gonna tear that apart and glue these new ones in. So let's get into this. Alrighty, I know, again, not an ideal situation. You're going to be staring at the back of my bald head again. But for the room I have to work with here, this is what we get. You see that I already axed one off of here. That's just so I could get my measurement here for the rest of them. So, take our trusty M12 bandsaw, and give her the old what for. Man, I absolutely love this thing. I'm telling you. Sweet. Now we got all these things lopped off at 3 inches below this horizontal here. Clean these things up, give them a little bit of abrasion, you know, deburn, whatnot, get ready to accept some glue. Now check out this handy little device. See this spinny bit here on top? This is called a deburring tool. Exactly what it's supposed to do, deburr stuff. Super handy. For this stuff, I mean, heck, this thing's made for metal, so it'll cut anything. Go around the inside of the pipe. Take a nice chamfer. Go around, do this for all of them. You may be asking yourself, hey Dan, how are you supposed to do the outside? Well, simply take some 120 grit emery cloth and we'll just wrap it around there and give her the old what for. Don't mind if I do. Now you guys see here, we got some leftover stickers and crap from earlier. Well, we'll just hit with that with some brake cleaning, take care of that real quick. Matter of fact, let's just do that now before we're digging through it with the sandpaper. Now, like I said here, I got us some brake parts cleaner. But with PVC, you gotta be cautious because this stuff is like super acidic to PVC. So yeah, it's a good effective cleaner, but it also starts to melt it. So, you know, just be careful, do your thing. Do the best you can to get all this old gunk off of here. The old God-given scraper the side of the thumbnail. Don't be afraid to get in there. Because with PVC joints, preparation is key. It's just like painting a car. The glue in itself only takes about 2 seconds. It's the prep that takes 2 weeks. So once you get everything all cleaned up, then we can go around and scuff everything. Cool. Now once you effectively break your thumbnail off, getting off all them stickers, just go back through, give her a once through, you know? Make sure everything's good and happy. Get all that 20 years of gunk off of there. So once you are good and prepped, let me state that again, good and prepped. Gluing PVC, you get one go at it, man. That's once it's on there forever. You mess it up, you got to cut it off. So take your time doing this. Now what we got here, the old PVC trio, yellow, purple, gray, all Odie stuff. And this gray goopy glue, oh dude, absolute best. That clear stuff is for the birds. You're doing anything PVC related, you want the Odie gray. I'm telling you, great stuff. So whenever you're doing this, there is a sequence, okay? You don't want to screw this up. The yellow one is the cleaner. Cleaner goes on first. It's pretty much just like acetone. It gets everything off of there and preps the surface perfectly. After the cleaner, then the primer. Boy, does this stuff make a mess. Go ahead and prime up real good. And fun fact, you know why primer is purple? I know it doesn't stand out too well on this gray Schedule 80 here, but regular residential Schedule 40 PVC pipe that's white, this stuff stands out like a sore thumb. So whenever you're getting your home inspection, you know, like in the middle of a construction process when you have to get each phase inspected, whenever the inspector looks at all the pipes and sees purple around the joints, he immediately knows that it was done correctly. Fun fact, that's why primer is purple. Now, the next part, the flange or the coupler here that's going to be connecting to the valve, we got to do the same thing and prep this side of the joint also. Cleaner. Primer, a healthy dose. Don't be afraid to use this stuff. And the good old glue. Now, if you're doing a coupler like this, let's just stop and talk about this for a minute. This is just like flaring a brake line on your car. So if you guys have ever been unfortunate enough to get a flare on that line, it's perfect, you nailed it the first time, plumb forgot to put the nut on, same deal here, fellas. Whenever you're doing a coupler or a union like this, make sure you put that on first. Because if you just glue this on here, you're toast, man. There ain't no putting that on there. Unless you cut apart the other end and slide it down it. Ain't nobody got time for that. Make sure you have the nut on here before you glue it together. So take a healthy dose of the gray goopy stuff. Put it around there. On the inside of this fitting, push, quarter turn. I tell you, man, that stuff sets up like right now. You know, with regular Schedule 40 and the clear stuff, they tell you to hold for like 10 seconds or whatever. You get about 0.10 seconds with this stuff. Like, it is industrial grade and it is amazing glue. Now that thing is on there for the rest of eternity. So before this thing really tacks up, I go ahead, take a finger, clean off all the extra on top. Why not? Take your time, have a little bit of pride in your work. And now, looky there. She's perfect. Let's keep on going out on it. Alrighty guys, now that we're on the last one here, I talked you through the first one, but you were kind of far away. You couldn't really see what was going on here, so I'll bring you up and actually show you the process of this one. We talked through it, you know the steps. Cleaner, primer, glue. This is exactly what we're going to do here. You can just actually see it this time. Make sure you get your hands good and purple. There ain't no plumbing job complete unless you put primer everywhere. Get you a good glob of glue. I'm going to say that 3 times fast. Cover that side, a little bit in the female side. Push, quarter turn, real quick. Now, how you like that? Hold her for just a couple. That's it. She is on there for always and ever. I take my finger, wipe off the extra here. And that, my friends, is a perfectly glued PVC joint. Alrighty, now that we got all of our phalanges successfully set, glued up and happy, the last thing we got to do, slam on the valves. Now, this doesn't apply to every PVC ball valve, but for this particular one, it does. It's just something that you might want to pay mind to. Take a gander here, and the molding on the side of the valve. You see here, there's an arrow that says flow. Well, I know darn tootin' which way this stuff goes, so we better make sure that we put these things on here in the orientation they need to be. So we need to have it that way. And the way that that is, like why that is that way, is these things are designed to shut off in a certain orientation. So there may be an actual design inside on that ball valve that it's easier to shut off one way or the other. Or the seat is designed differently on one side of the ball than the other, so it actually seals. So like I said, this may not apply to you, but it's something to watch out for. So now that I know I have my orientation correct, go ahead and let's check our surfaces here, because this is a flat face O-ring. That's how this seals. Like that's how we're able to achieve this slide in, slide out valve thing. So just make sure everything's clean, everybody's happy. Couldn't be any easier. Spin this thing on, and you don't even have to go gorilla on this thing because that O-ring crushes and creates a great seal. So make sure that nut is tight, shut the valve off. And finally, numero quattro. Put that on there, give her a good twist, shut it off, and voila. And we have all new female sockets here on the bottom that are glue in. And these can actually be changed out to have an 1¼ inch threaded female, so you can put MPT stuff in there too. Real nice. That's why I like how versatile these things are. But that about does our water setup. When and until I know how I need to terminate this thing for the new machine, this is as good as it gets. So guys, hopefully this one wasn't as painful as the previous. Maybe you wanted it to be longer. I don't know. But this is just what I had time to get into today, so I figured I'd give you guys the next step in this project. And it just so happened to be plumbing in PVC valves. So like I said, stick around because this is a multiple part series, so we'll see you guys next time.